An ancient warrior culture from the outer rim planet of Mandalore, the Mandalorian people have a long and tragic history, plagued by near constant wars and rebellions, unable to divorce themselves from their violent heritage. From the time of the Old Republic over 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, Mandalorians lived by a warrior's code of honor, following the mand'alor, a single authority who'd proven themselves as the greatest warrior of their people and earned the respect of the Mandalorian clans. He was guarded by the Protectors, a group of elite soldiers loyal to the ruler of Mandalore. To settle conflicts among the warriors of their race and to determine leadership, challenges were invoked, involving single combat to the death. However, some believed this honor only applied to Mandalorians, and so challenges from outside their race were not always respected. Their skills as warriors allowed Mandalorians to spread beyond their homeworld, colonizing and conquering many other planets and systems. The Jedi Order, unwilling to allow Mandalorian violence to continue spreading across the galaxy, intervened, going to war against them. However, the war proved challenging, with Mandalorians fighting not for riches or glory, but for the thrill of the fight itself. The war, therefore, was long and draining, costing the Old Republic and Jedi much in the way of blood and treasure. A Mandalorian general from Clan Vizsla was even able to sack the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, stealing a Jedi relic known as the Darksaber. Though the battles were vicious and devastating, the Jedi were eventually able to push them back into Mandalorian space. And so the warriors turned on each other, fighting wars amongst themselves for supremacy and rule. In the last century before the Battle of Yavin, Mandalore once again erupted in civil war. The vicious conflict devastated the factions as well as their home planet, turning much of Mandalore into desert and killing the majority of their population. From the ashes of the conflict, the new Mandalorian movement came to power, led by Duchess Satine Kryze, who rejected their warrior past and embraced pacifism, transforming their culture into one of intergalactic neutrality and non-violence. With their home planet all but destroyed, biodomes and biocubes were established to create livable areas for their people, with the remaining warriors of Mandalore, those who refused to accept the new government and culture, exiled to the planet of Concord Dawn. During the Clone Wars, Pre Vizsla, a descendant of an ancient warrior clan and keeper of the Jedi relic, the Darksaber, organized the remaining warriors of Mandalore on Concord Dawn, becoming governor of the colony and working within the new Mandalorian government to destroy it from the inside. Forming the organization known as Death Watch, Pre Vizsla was in contact with the Confederacy of Independent Systems, organizing a number of terrorist attacks against the Mandalorian homeworld, hoping to attract the attention of the Republic so they might vote to intervene in the conflict to safeguard against separatist influence. In this way, Death Watch could accuse the Republic of invading their territory and go to war against them, liberating Mandalore from Republic control and using their political capital to depose the pacifist government, which could not protect its own people. However, this plan fell apart when the Republic voted against sending troops to Mandalore, forcing Death Watch into exile, becoming Outer Rim mercenaries. Eventually, they were approached by Darth Maul, who had re-emerged alongside his brother Savage Opress to create a power base among the galaxy's criminal underworld, uniting the Shadow Council behind his efforts. The Death Watch would also join them, and with their support, Darth Maul staged a coup on Mandalore and seized control. With Duchess Satine deposed, Pre Vizsla saw his opportunity to gain control of his homeworld, and so betrayed Maul, declaring himself and the Death Watch as rulers of Mandalore. Maul was outraged by this betrayal and invoked the Mandalorian tradition of single combat to determine the leadership. Pre Vizsla agreed and they engaged in battle, with Darth Maul emerging victorious. Upon the death of Pre Vizsla, many within the Death Watch kneeled before the Dathomirian Dark Lord and pledged their loyalty. However, Bo-Katan Kryze, Pre Vizsla's second-in-command, refused to accept Maul's supremacy, and the Death Watch fractured, with many following Bo-Katan in rebellion. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan Kenobi traveled to Mandalore to investigate recent events, but was caught and arrested while trying to rescue Duchess Satine. The two were brought before Maul, who at last was able to achieve vengeance for his defeat at the hands of Kenobi years earlier. Yet rather than kill the Jedi Master, he chose to hurt the man instead, murdering Duchess Satine before his eyes. Despite Maul's victory and conquest of the planet, his reign was short-lived. When Darth Sidious learned of the return of his former apprentice, he knew Darth Maul had become a dark side rival, and so personally went to Mandalore, defeating the Dathomirian brothers in combat, killing Savage Opress and capturing Maul. Mandalore was left under the authority of Prime Minister Almec, a former ally of Duchess Satine, who had turned against her during the Clone Wars and was arrested for engaging in black market crime. During Maul's rule, he released the man and put him back in power, an action which would prove fortunate for the Dathomirian, as Almec would return the favor by sending Mandalorian commandos to free Maul from Republic captivity. And while Maul would go on to establish a new base of power on Dathomir, with the support of the Shadow Council and the Darkside Priestess Mother Talzin, Mandalore would be left itself divided and struggling, with the new government battling the remnants of Death Watch, and both Separatist and Republic armies watching their people with great interest. The Protectors, elite Mandalorian warriors traditionally led by the ruler of Mandalore, saw the Death Watch invasion of their world as a deep betrayal and mistrusted their ties to the Separatists, leading them to an alliance with the Republic, helping to train clone trooper pilots in Skull Squadron, engaging in the Third Battle of Megiddo, in which the Mandalorian warrior Fen Rao led Skull Squadron with Republic forces to defeat the Confederacy of Independent Systems. After the Clone Wars and the transition from Republic to Empire, Mandalore was firmly under Imperial control, and so the Protectors formed a base of operations on the third moon of Concord Dawn, pledging loyalty to the Empire. However, many years later, as the Rebel Alliance made its way across the galaxy, attempting to find friends who would fight against the Empire, Kanan Jarrus and Sabine Wren met the Protectors, engaging them in battle and fighting them with distinction. Their interactions gained the admiration and respect of Fen Rao, who began to reconsider his loyalty to the Empire. Under Imperial control, Mandalore was a shell of its former self, never again able to regain the power and prestige they once held as a galactic power. Many of their remaining warriors would leave their home system to become prized mercenaries and bounty hunters working for various powers throughout the galaxy. Among the most well-known of their people would be Jango Fett, a man once considered to be the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. His skills were so highly valued that he was hired by the Kaminoans to be a template for the clone armies of the Republic. Copying his DNA, they were able to produce highly skilled warriors for many years, until Jango ended his contract and left Kamino alongside a special clone he had requested, who he would raise as his son, naming him Boba Fett. Though Jango would die at the hands of Mace Windu at the Battle of Geonosis, Boba Fett would continue his father's legacy, becoming a famous bounty hunter in his own right, eventually even working for such legendary figures as Darth Vader and Jabba the Hutt. Despite the many tragedies that faced the Mandalorian people, their legacy would live on, influencing events for many years to come. A special thanks to all those who have contributed to CivilizationEx. You make these videos possible, and I am eternally grateful for your support. If you would like to help CivilizationEx and want a say in the future content of this channel, click on the Patreon link in the description box below and pledge any amount you'd like on a monthly basis. Or if you would prefer to make a single donation, you can use the PayPal link, also in the description below. And please be sure to like and subscribe and click on the links to see more.